Hello and welcome to the 30th episode of the 34 Sports Podcast. I'm joined again with Randy.
Hey everyone, welcome back. This is going to be a good one.
Yeah, it's NFL Kickoff week. We'll get into that a little bit later, but first we got to start off with the Nets. I know I've been constantly on basketball, but I think we got to continue here with this Nets. They're really stacking up. I was pleasantly surprised to see Lamarcus Aldridge come out of retirement. I felt like the way he went out was not any way that a player wants to go out. Just heart issue. Was playing pretty decent. I think he just had like a 20-point game a couple nights before he had to call it, and it's good to see him back. Adam
He
Mills,
certainly deserved better. He certainly
yeah,
deserved better. Yeah.
I think he messed up leaving Dame a little bit quick there in Portland, but that's hard to look back on now. Fun fact about that: him, Lillard, and Gwen and Roy, when he was healthy, were 56-10, but Roy could never stay healthy, so that was unfortunately something we never got to see. Not a lot of people talk about that, but that could have been quite the team.
Yeah, that Portland team. I just feel bad for the Portland franchise as a whole, who has struggled with injuries, it seems like, in their entirety. Even when they had a guy like Bill Walton, then when they should have been a championship team, he suffered injuries too.
Well,
So
yeah,
they've just been plagued by it. And,
and they
Odin and
drafted Bowie, drafted Odin, which were both
yep,
pretty decent players. Odin's still a great player. He's got Yao Ming's issue like he had, just injured too
right,
much. I mean, even Ming, as much as he was injured, you still got to see what he could be. You never really got to see that with Odin.
right. A little off topic here, but I think Anthony Davis is going down that road. I don't know.
Anthony Davis has already had a decent career, though. He's had a better career than a lot of guys have.
That's true.
He
Odin
could
didn't
have
even get
been
a
so
season.
much better if he could have stayed healthy. He could have
Yeah.
been right up there with Timmy Duncan. And I like
No.
Duncan quite a lot. I mean, he wasn't really in the situation that Duncan was at the start of his career, but he had that capability with his skill set to be that type
Right.
of player. Never got there, and I won't ever. I mean, his only championship, he had to join up with somebody, which is something that Tim Duncan never did. A fun thing about Tim Duncan though is that he almost went to Orlando with T Mac at one point. That almost happened too.
Oh, really? I
Yeah,
did not know that.
that was
Oh,
his after his rookie contract was up. I think is when he went, or maybe it was his
okay.
second contract. But there was a point in there when he wanted to go meet up with T Mac. That could have been deadly. Uh,
So here's a question then. So the moves that the Nets have made, do you like them or do you not like them?
I like him. I don't think. I don't know about the Sekou move per se. The only thing was it was a good salary dump.
Yep.
I could see it there. You get youth. You get Sekou, who's already played with Bruce Brown, who was they actually flipped the pick back to Detroit that Detroit traded for Bruce Brown with 4 second rounders. I think that was great for Detroit because Sekou was heavily inconsistent and was not showing as much potential as I would have liked. He was getting into that Stanley Johnson level for me, and I hate to say that. I hope he can get back to the level. He has more potential than Stanley Johnson to get to that level, but will we see it? I'm going to guess on the no side, unfortunately. I think he could be a good backup, but at one point I thought he was starting potential. Maybe a little regency bias because I'm from Detroit, but he had his high moments. He had that one game against Boston where he had like 4 threes, 25 points, and 6 rebounds. Then after that, he just died. His game.
He's done. It's weird saying that about a 21-year-old, but
Yeah,
you know, it's he hasn't shown me anything to make me think. I think he's peaked already, and that's
well, yeah.
really crazy to say, but
Well, what you need to see out of a player is you need to see improvement in the second season, which we didn't really see out of Sekou. Even when he was given minutes, didn't really show a lot. I mean, there was a couple games Casey threw him 18, 20 minutes, and we didn't see a whole lot. So yeah, I think Weaver worked his magic again and traded him at the right time, right when his stock was still decently high enough, and the Nets were desperate to get off DeAndre's contract, so it
mhm.
worked out. Got rid of
Well, we'll
Jaleel
talk about
Okafor. You go
we'll
ahead.
talk about Detroit. I cannot wait to talk about the genius of Troy Weaver, but I think overall, again, for Brooklyn that's wanting to win right now, it works. They
Yeah,
got rid of they got rid of the contract space they needed. They picked up Lamarcus Aldridge. They're getting Paul Millsap, so
yeah.
they're pretty good at the power forward situation. Looks like they're thinking about playing Blake at the center, either with Claxton or they got another one. I think Perry.
Well, now they have who do they got? They got Okafor in the trade too. They have an
Okafor, right?
abundance of bigs. I don't see any of the bigs that they got from Detroit really giving them any minutes. I think it was just a stash type thing, just to get rid of the big contract. I don't. Um,
So I thought they were championship favorites before, and I certainly believe that now. When the weakest guy in your starting rotation is going to be Blake Griffin, uh, you're in a good situation. So, well, I
yeah,
don't know. Wait, who's starting at the one for them now? It's probably
Kyrie.
going to be. Oh yeah. Okay. Duh. Yeah, they're fine.
So we never really got to see them, and literally Durant was so close to putting the Bucks down, and that was
Oh
just
man.
basically Durant by himself because Harden was pretty much he was playing like a C.J. McCollum to a Dame Lillard in that series. And
Patty
I
Mills.
mean, I can't even disrespect CJ that much. But
No.
yeah, Patty Mills is there too. That's an underrated pickup. He's won a championship already.
Right.
People forget. But
I don't see anything stopping this team. I
no,
don't see anything. There's no way.
Lakers fans think differently, but I don't. You
They're
get,
wrong.
I mean, you can stack Hall of Famers all you want, but you're not stacking Hall of Famers because a lot of them are past their prime. LeBron's
This is
still got game. I'm not saying it's LeBron,
yes.
but Melo has not been Melo since he left New York. He's been decent, been a good backup.
Right.
Vince Carter-esque, in my opinion, that kind of a role, but not somebody who's going to push you over the top as a
That's high
starter.
praise, though. By the way, I think Vince has been a good role player for the last
Yeah,
7 years.
I think
Good.
Melo. I think Melo waited too long to fit that role. He should have just taken that role before he took his absence there for that year or so.
Yeah, he didn't want to though. So, well, this is excellent. This fits right in with where you're wanting to go, right? Let's talk about the Lakers then,
Yeah,
right? The rumor is they're pursuing, and then we'll talk about this when we get to Detroit too, because this all fits in together. Uh, Apparently the Lakers are pursuing DeAndre Jordan
they've
at
already
this
signed
time.
him. I think. Have they not?
Oh, have they?
I thought. I mean, it's pretty
I
much in the cards if it hasn't happened. I
Oh
think
yeah, it's you're right. If it hasn't happened, it's going to.
we'll
The
just
rumor
talk
is
as if it did.
okay. So well, if it did go through, they were saying 6 to 7 million for a single year
They're gonna
deal.
pay him 6 to 7.
Yep, that's what they were thinking. His previous deal was that we bought him out of was 2 years, 20 million, I believe. No, no, sorry, 1 year, 2.6 million.
No, it
That's the
was two
deal.
years 20 because we're having to pay him. He gave back 4. We're paying him 7.6 a year, so it was around 20.
Okay, so he was right now. You're right. He's making 1 point, or he's making 2.6 for 1 year in Los Angeles.
Okay. That's where that came in. That makes sense.
So
That's
great move.
that's a little over the veteran minimum. That's a good price for him at his age. I mean, they got rid of Andre Drummond and basically got a slightly better Andre Drummond back. So I don't know how Lakers.
For
Uh,
way cheaper.
DeAndre's got better defensive intensity. Drummond is lazy on defense. That's enough of Drummond. I'm not gonna
Yep.
bash him anymore today, um, but I don't see how much it didn't work with. Well, I said I wasn't gonna talk, but it didn't work with Drummond last year, and I don't see how much better it'll be with DeAndre. I would like to see them get out of the Gasol contract because I don't see much out of him anymore.
Especially now, right?
Yeah, I guess he's a facilitator. Who's their starting? They don't have
Yeah, no,
Harrell.
they have
They
Dwight
got,
Howard on that roster too.
they have some of the oldest centers. I know people keep bashing on the old thing, but if you look specifically at the center position, all those guys are past their prime at center.
Yep.
Because I
But
was thinking they
still
had
have good ball
Harrell.
play though.
I was thinking they
Yeah.
still had Harrell, but they sent him to the Wizards for Westbrook, which is a good trade. I think if they're gonna push all in now, they might as well finish off the youth while they're at it. Um,
And you're right. These guys are past their prime.
um,
Um, but I still think, they're still gonna play quality ball.
yeah, the
You
biggest
know.
thing for them is I think the biggest add with Westbrook is that when LeBron's off the floor, they're still going to have a ball handler for Davis. You also have Rondo that helps with that. But Davis was struggling when LeBron was out, and even in the bubble when he played
Yes.
so well, to get his own points when LeBron wasn't throwing him the ball every other possession.
And this is one of the reasons why I think LA is going to be so much better this year. Is when LeBron came off the floor. This was one of the worst teams in the league, right?
Yeah,
And and you could see it. So he could rest like 2 minutes, and they would be minus 15 points in like 2 minutes. It's like, what is going on? So you're right. The addition of Westbrook to maybe play some more minutes so that maybe LeBron can stay off, and vice versa. LeBron plays so they can stay off, and
yeah.
yeah,
I th-
that's these are good moves for LA.
I think Davis, if he can maneuver his game slightly, I think he's slightly put himself in a box. If you look at guys like Adebayo and Randall on how they've changed their game to being able to dribble the ball and be able to dribble out of high pick and roll screens, I don't see that as much from Davis. I would like to see that more, and I think he could be just that more dominant. That's what keeps people on their toes with the other guys I mentioned, Adebayo and guys like that. And even Sabonis a little bit, but I think Davis has been. I feel like the injuries are slowly picking away at him because I think a couple of years ago maybe he did do that more, and
Right.
maybe that's just not the role that Vogel wants him to play at the same time though, because maybe it's a team thing. I'm not gonna discount him that much, but um, they're still gonna be good, but they are heavily reliant on players' regression and injuries.
Yes. Yeah. Well, the good news is too, they got a little bit of depth now at the center position, right?
Yeah,
And but the bad news is this is going to force AD to play at the four, and he is far less productive for. I don't know why he is far less productive at the four than when he's playing five. I couldn't tell you the reason why,
yeah, I don't.
but if you look at his numbers when he's playing each position, he does way better when he's playing the five.
He was fine at UK when he played the five, so that must have been something that New Orleans messed him up in his development.
So
Um,
yeah, we'll see. But
I
he can't. There's no way he can play the five now.
I'm thinking back on Davis. I New Orleans is questionable sometimes because Davis, I remember the big thing about him is that when he was young, he was a point guard, and then when he carried that into his college years, but then when he went to New Orleans, they kind of stripped that part of his game down slightly. So I think he's good, but if he could get back to that more, I think he could definitely. Uh, I mean, he's already top 10 in the league. I don't know. I can't. I mean, he'd be right outside my top 10, but he's right up there. I mean, there's just a few things he could do to be that much better. I say the same thing with LeBron with his 3-point shooting. Takes away from his ability to drive in the paint and get a foul every possession. Just a few little tweaks of the game, and they could be that much more dominant.
Yep. Yep. I agree.
Uh,
So we did our way too early predictions a couple weeks ago. Are you still feeling the same way about the Lakers? Would you have them at two, or did you have them at two, or did you have them at three?
Yeah, I think they'll win games in the regular season. Even if LeBron load manages with Russell Westbrook, they'll be fine. It'll just come to the playoffs. Um, I like Russell Westbrook, but we haven't seen him go deep in the playoffs since KD left the Thunder. So we'll have to see if being with LeBron changes that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I mean, I've
Well,
already talked about injuries. That's big for them.
yes. And the funny thing is, when this deal, the Westbrook deal first went down, I was like, this is a horrible fit. You've got two ball dominant guys playing on the same team. But the more it stews, and the more I sit and think about it, I was like, well, this team's biggest issue was when LeBron came off the floor, and Westbrook completely fixes that problem for them. So I'm even higher on this team now than I was 2 weeks ago. They're not going to beat the Clippers or the Nets, sorry, but I'm higher on them. Has the needle moved for you at all on the Lakers?
It's about the same. I got them right at 2. I mean,
Yeah.
I think they'll win games. I don't. I mean, I don't know if I quite see them getting out of the West, let alone getting a championship, but they're gonna be good.
I think they win the West. I think they win the West, and they're going to do their typical, play half effort during the regular season, be like a 4 or 5 seed. and then win the West. I hate when teams do that, but
It
that's what
could
they do.
happen.
Yeah.
We'll have to see. I mean, I think them Nets are gonna be out east. Are gonna be brutal. It's gonna be interesting to see how I didn't really think I was gonna talk about this, but the Bucks, see how they can adjust. Losing PJ Tucker and Brent Forbes. Ben Forbes, their bench has kind of lessened. Um, I don't think they're gonna repeat. I don't know. I feel like it's unfortunate for Giannis, but this could have been his one hurrah in Milwaukee. Um, because there's going to be a lot of teams like the Nets are going to be solid for about 2-3 years now, and they're talking about extensions. And then you're going to have the young guys coming up. Who knows what it'll be like in a couple of years here?
Well, let's be real too. If the Nets were at full strength this year, the Bucks don't go to the finals,
No,
right? You had Harden out there who was just a lame duck, and I appreciate him going out there and at least trying, but he was obviously not even 50% when he
no,
was out there, and Kyrie, what happened with him too? The, even the championship Bucks are not beating that team this year, and now they're better.
yeah,
There's no way Milwaukee's gonna come out this year. Now maybe they blow up the team with the Nets after next year. Maybe they have another shot, but that's assuming they keep all their pieces there now, which they just won a championship and they can't do. PJ Tucker's out, which was a big part of that team. So I think you're right. It could be last hurrah
yeah.
for Giannis.
Holiday's going to keep aging. Holiday's on the other end of his career. He's just edging out of his prime. He's still in it, but
Yep.
he's on the edge.
Yep.
Um, and then they'll be right back in the same spot. I still think, even though they won the championship, they're going to eat that Brogdon free agency for a while now
Yeah.
because
Yeah, I
they
think
had
you're
to
right on that.
trade 4 draft picks just to get an equivalent guard there and Drew Holiday back to fit what Brogdon could have provided for them if
Yep.
they had just paid a little into the cap there.
Yeah. I mean, this, in my humble opinion, this is. I already think that Giannis is Hall of Fame worthy with what he's done
Yeah.
in Milwaukee and getting them that championship. In my book, sealed him as a Hall of Famer. But I think you're right. That's it for him. And I
Uh,
hope he stays in Milwaukee his entire career.
uh,
But unless they shake things up in Milwaukee, he's not getting another one.
I
And they're
got
not
a,
getting any big free agents there.
I got a sneaky suspicion now this will be 4 or 5 years out, so who knows if I even remember it when it happens. But I have a sneaky suspicion that him and Luca are going to pair up one day. And Giannis is end of his career, and that'll be one of Luca's first or second rings. He'll
I
be
would
with
love that.
Giannis.
I would
But I
love that.
wouldn't mind to see him stay in Milwaukee his whole career. Who knows? Maybe the Mavs will make Luca so mad that he'll leave and go somewhere else, and it could be Milwaukee. Who
Yeah, I
knows?
doubt it because Cuban adores him and will do. Pretty much Luca's running that franchise now.
Well, I had that video out. The Gamblers running the back. They could have had Sadiq
You're,
Bey this year, but they got
you're right
Josh
about that.
Green. They got to
Yeah, and
clean that
actually,
up a little bit, and they could be all right.
the scouting department is actually furious about that because they're seeing Sadiq now.
Well, yeah, you know who's the
Thanks.
GM quit and the coach quit because of it. So they had a hard reset up front. So we'll see what happens there. We'll see if Cuban lets that guy have more influence now that the GM's gone, and that'll be big. That could it could be a shock wave into the future. That could depend on a lot of things because Luka's going to be a big player going forward.
Yep. Sadly, they'll be a bottom playoff team again, though, unless Porzingis really
Yeah, I think I had
goes
seven,
back to
eight
where he
for
was.
them, or six maybe even
Yeah,
six.
I put them at 7.
Yeah, because Luka's gonna pull them, but he can only do so much.
He will be the only reason why they make the playoffs.
Yeah.
So,
Uh,
well,
I think it's
I'm real excited about this.
yeah. I can't wait. It's a shame that Sekou couldn't amount to anything in Detroit, but it was time.
It was the
Uh,
right move.
Hayes is now the longest tenured Piston with all of 10 months in the organization.
Wow, that's for real?
Yeah, that's a serious. Yeah, Hayes is the longest tenured Piston at the moment.
My goodness. And
Full rebuild, literally. Nobody's
think
ever
about
done
this.
a rebuild at that level.
What's it been, a year and a half? I went from we have the worst GM in the NBA to where we are underneath a genius, right?
Yeah,
And Do you know why I think Troy Weaver is so brilliant? And we'll talk about the DeAndre Jordan move and why it happened, and why I think it's brilliant, and why Pistons YouTubers seem to hate the move. But I'll tell them why they're wrong. Troy Weaver understands it's not necessarily getting the best pick, which is what Philadelphia was always trying to do. You know, they'd have one or two picks and they would try to tank to get that one good pick.
Hmm.
Troy Weaver understands you want as many picks as possible, and it's all about luck. And maybe you'll hit on one or two. And this is why Troy Weaver is a genius. People are mad about 4 second rounders. Well, guess what? Ben Wallace was a second rounder, in my humble opinion, one of the greatest defenders to ever lace up and play the game.
Yeah.
We got Luca, right? Garza,
Yeah,
second round pick. He's looking like he's going to turn out to be something awesome. And
I
so,
think
Troy
he's a
Weaver,
perfect 6 for 6 on picks, or 7 actually, because
he's been great.
he's got Hayes, Sadiq, Stewart, Saban
Yep.
Lee,
Yep.
Cade, which is a no-brainer. I can give him some credit there, but that was pretty well no-brainer.
Yeah, everyone.
Livers and
Yes.
Garza, and I think Livers is the only one. I hope he doesn't end up being another Brasdakis, who was really good coming out of Michigan a few years ago and then didn't amount to anything. Still got time, but hasn't done much yet. But Livers shot 40% from three. I could. They got some
Yeah.
decent pieces. Now they open a roster spot. They give him a chance actually in the season to maybe get some minutes.
Yeah. Let's say, you bring the 3-point team on, you bring Livers in. He's definitely got a role. He's got a role.
Yeah.
So I'm loving it. I'm loving it. I'm loving Troy Weaver.
Yeah, the
Right?
Kennard trade looks amazing now for us because Shamit's already moved on to from the Nets to the Suns. Kennard got a what's it called, an extension that was unwarranted. I mean, he
Right.
played all of maybe 20 minutes for him, and they gave him a 4-year 54, and he didn't even play in the playoffs last year. Uh,
Let's You want to know this is the second reason why Weaver is a genius. He gets rid of expiring contracts and squeezes as much juice out of them as possible. Listen, Sekou was done in Detroit.
yeah,
They were not picking up his option after this year. What did they do? They picked up 4 second-round draft picks for something we were going to get nothing out of. Sekou wasn't going to see the floor this year,
no, he wasn't.
right?
I don't even know if they might have sent him down to the cruise, but I doubt it.
Right? We got to give some credit to Tom Gorris too, who was hated in Detroit, but he's buying out all these contracts. That's a lot of money that he's given up for nothing. Well, not nothing, but to push the dream,
Well,
right?
he's pushing the dream, and it also sells jerseys when they make good moves. So as long as he can sell merch, it'll make up for it in the long term. And
Hey,
if they're selling
I'm
tickets, because I've been in Pistons games the last couple of years when they sucked, and they were selling out. They sold maybe half the seats. If I mean, I know with Cade, we're going to be packed. It's going to be a pain to get tickets this year.
Yeah, you're right about that. But I want a Sadiq jersey. I want him to be a Piston for a long time.
Yeah,
And so that's what Troy Weaver's done.
I like
He got
it.
Andre Drummond out of town. He got Blake out of town.
Yeah.
Buying out those contracts.
I've
Brilliant.
seen people like sticking up for Blake lately that are like Pistons fans. It's like some of these people just are a sucker for pain. I don't get it. They just let it go. It's like he did. They try to act like he did so much. Blake did what he could. He was hurt. I mean, he was faking out the dunks. That makes me the most irritated. He could still dunk, and he was not doing it. I mean, one a season maybe. He didn't even have one the whole season. But
Hmm.
all Blake did, Blake and Drummond, got us to the 8th seed, and we got swept. That isn't that much. I mean, the only big game I saw out of Blake, really, the whole time he was there, was the 50 against Philly. And the only reason he had to drop 50 is because Drummond was just getting bodied by Embiid the whole game.
Right.
That's funny he's in Philly now. I said that last week, but Drummond having to play back up to Embiid. It's a good spot for him. That way he doesn't have to play him this year.
Yeah. So, in my humble opinion, Detroit and OKC are battling it out for who's got the best general manager right now,
Yeah.
right? And it's
But
it's hard to make that case against winning teams, but like when you have a winning team, you just keep it together or you sign superstars, right? So it's a lot easier when you're winning. When you're losing, it's hard to be a good GM.
I mean, let's just bounce to Thunder right now. Thunder got some dogs. They got Shea
Yeah.
Gildas, who the Clippers actually used our pick that we traded for Blake for. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
they
Mm-hmm.
and then he got traded for PG. That was a good trade.
Mm-hmm.
They got him. They got Lou Dort, who's an absolute monster on defense and has an
Right.
offensive game somewhat like James Harden. He's got Tony Allen defense and James Harden offense.
Mm-hmm.
You got Alexis Pokashevsky, he's the next Dirk. I mean, they've been searching for Dirk for years. Porzingis came close, but if Pokashevsky can stay healthy, he's the closest thing we've seen to Dirk. And he's a lot more agile than Dirk was. I like Dirk, but he had two left feet sometimes. And Pokashevsky is good. At
Yeah.
center, they've got a guy like Moses Brown, who is they need some positions filled out, and they've got they got Darius Blaisley, and they drafted Josh Giddey this year. So actually, they can move Shea to the two, and then Lou Dort to the three, so Giddey could start there. But they got some decent guys. They also got Theo Maladon from France, isn't bad. But Thunder's outlook is pretty good. It's going to take them a few years, but they'll definitely be back in the mix. My
They have
real
the same idea. As many draft picks as you can get. Drafting, yeah, you can do all the scouting you want, but it really boils down to getting lucky and hitting on some picks. And the more picks you have, the more lottery tickets you have, the more likely you are to hit.
You
I
gotta have the
love
right
that
scouts
way.
too. That's
Yes,
why the
exactly.
Spurs have done so good. They've had minimal picks and in pretty iffy locations because they've been so good. 29 to 30 in the first round, and then late 59, 58, 60 in the second. But they've been able to pick up. I mean, Manu Ginobili was like 57.
Yep. And we're looking at you, Dallas.
Yeah, Dallas, they got to get that gambler out of there. And Cuban, just let him stay at your beach house and just get him out of there.
Yeah. Yep.
He has no place in there. I mean, I would have gave him a shot, but after that Josh Green pick, he's done. I would not give him another chance to screw something up. I mean, I before the draft, would I have thought Sadiq Bey was the guy to go with there? No, but everybody saw it, so uh, you need to just uh, you need to get that out of the locker room, out of the front
I,
office.
in my ignorance, when we drafted Sadiq, I thought we were just getting another Luke Kennard with size, right?
Yeah,
Boy, was I wrong.
yeah,
Boy, was I wrong about that. So, yeah, our win. That was our win on that.
yeah. We
I mean,
got
that's our Devin Mitchell or Donovan Mitchell from a few years back.
well. That
I feel
fits
like
with
Sadiq.
Kennard because we drafted Kennard over Mitchell, but.
Exactly. That's exactly how I feel this Sadiq Bey. Someone passed up on him. We got him, and that makes up for. Wait a minute. Was that a Stan Van thing?
That
Did
was
Stan Van?
Stan Van.
Yeah.
I'm
Gosh
glad
darn it.
that we did draft Kennard because if we didn't draft Kennard, we probably wouldn't be in the same position right now. You know what Stan Van would have done with Mitchell? He would have ruined him.
Yeah.
I don't. I mean, if you look at the way Stan Van drafted, it was not good. But we've talked about that before. I don't want to get too much into that today, but
Yeah.
we
Well,
definitely.
let's nail this DeAndre Jordan thing down for people who don't understand it though,
Yeah.
right? They're like, wait, why did you make that move? Why did you make that move and then just get rid of DeAndre Jordan, buy out his contract? Essentially, okay, so think about this, people. Essentially, what happened is they paid the price of DeAndre's contract for 4 second-round draft picks, and they knew that Sekou was not a part of the future anymore. They gave up on him, and I don't blame them. They weren't going to re-sign him with his option at the end of the year, so they're going to lose him anyways. So they trade him up for and they get rid of Okafor too, which I think was a good move
Yeah, he
because I
wasn't getting any minutes last year, let alone this year. It was guys that did added to the
yeah
rotation.
they brought DeAndre Jordan. The Nets wanted cap space,
Hmm.
so in order to make DeAndre Jordan's a good player, but Detroit has no use for him. So to sweeten the deal, the Nets put on those 4 draft picks, and now that we have him, Detroit buys out his contract. He goes to LA.
Gave us
So
4
now,
million back, plus we got the 5 million in the trade. We got cash with the trade, so we actually have half of it paid.
yes, this is a genius move. This is awesome. If even, I mean, with second round picks, you're usually not going to hit. But if we hit on one, Weaver is going to look again like a
Oh,
genius.
he's on 3 already, so
Yeah. So YouTubers out there that are knocking this move for
Crispy
getting rid of
Flakes,
Sekou.
just say his name, Crispy Flakes. He's just
Yeah, I'm calling you out. You're
he's a
wrong.
shock. He's a shock YouTuber. He likes to feed off of that energy, and it sells. I don't
Yeah,
blame him. I've done it myself. You look at that NFL video and you look at the Raptors video. I've done it myself, and those do have done fairly well on my channel. But it's not really a route I like to take. But I mean, it's just not
yeah,
something I'll watch. There's enough people that are gullible to watch it, but
yeah.
not me.
Well, those people are dead wrong. 3 years, and they got to watch him in summer league too. 3 years is enough to know if a guy's gonna fit your future, if you're gonna re-sign him or not. They had to make that year. They pulled the trigger, and they squeezed every drop of juice out of Sekou that they could. And
Yeah,
once again, Troy Weaver's looking like a genius.
yeah. I I like Sega, and I was talking him up a few years ago, but it's just
I was too. I was too.
it's hard. I mean,
Especially when he had that one dunk, I was like, "That's it. This kid's gonna be a part of our future."
yeah,
And then nothing.
yeah. It's hard. It's hard.
Yep.
I think that's the way Thon Maker was from Milwaukee for a while there.
Boy, I remember his hype videos too.
Yeah.
So every little piece of the Stan Van Gundy era is killed off in less than a year, and that makes me happy.
Well, Tom Gores is still here, so.
Well, he put it. You know what? I went from not liking Tom Gores, wishing he would sell the team, to we have. I'm very happy that he's. I mean, think about it. The owner has to be on board to buy out all those contracts that we did,
Yeah.
and so yeah. So I'm very happy with Tom Gores now too.
I want the Hornets announcer for Cade this year. I want a guy like the Hornets. We got Mason in Detroit, but I want some. We need somebody with him that just goes crazy whenever somebody does something.
Yeah. So
Uh,
there's a lot of good young teams in the NBA right now too, but
yeah,
that's another topic.
they're gonna be out doing some, but yeah, we could save that for another day. We got to get into some NFL. I mean, we're 1 day away right now. I'm gonna make sure I get this up tonight.
Woohoo!
But tomorrow you got the Cowboys taking on the Buccaneers. That should be a slaughter. But I can get in. I know the one big reason I won't get too much into that game because I think it's going to be just a beatdown. Dak Prescott hasn't played since he's been injured. They're going to be out their best lineman. Um, Forget his. Oh my gosh, I've heard it like 15 times today. But they're going to be out their number one lineman, and on defense, their secondary is horrific. And you got Antonio Brown, you got Gronkowski, you got Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Scotty Miller. You just got weapons, and they're not going to be able to handle that. It's probably going to be. I'm guessing the score is going to be like 35-14. I think it'll be a 3 touchdown difference. I don't see it being that close. I know a lot of people talk about Mike McCarthy being a good coach for Dallas, but he's not that good. That team is
Okay.
built. That Buccaneer team is built.
You want there? Wait, people are saying Mike McCarthy is a good coach.
Well, he's had his moments.
Huh.
He's been caught a little bit too much in the past at times, but he's not the worst coach.
I
Uh,
believe wasn't he in Denver when Tim Tebow was there.
I'm not. I thought he was in Green Bay for a long time.
You're correct. I'm sorry.
He won with
Wait,
Rodgers. That's the only one that Rodgers ever
yeah.
won. McCarthy was at the helm there.
I'm sorry. I was thinking McDaniel's. So
Oh,
anywho,
I know. Yeah, McDaniel. Yeah, I know you're. Yeah.
we gotta talk about the Dallas Cowboys. We've got to talk about the Dallas Cowboys. The Dallas Cowboys faithful every year they come in thinking they're gonna win a Super Bowl, and their hopes are just dashed every single year. You pointed out Dak Prescott has not played in forever, right? Oh, let's not forget about Ezekiel Elliott, who just suffered a huge injury. And when huge injuries happen to running backs, unless you're Adrian Peterson, you never bounce back from that, and you never have the same
Yeah, the
explosiveness.
Giants got to watch that too with Saquon Barkley. He had a pretty bad one this last year.
Yes, running back is the most brutal position in the NFL, and guys do not bounce back from huge injuries unless you're Adrian Peterson.
No.
And so, listen, it's gonna be another rough season for Dallas. I
Yeah.
mean, I see a lot of people putting them in like top five. I'm like, what are
Well, a
you
lot of
thinking?
people got them winning the NFC East. Vegas has got them at plus 150 to win their division. But
If
I've got
if
at
they
least two
do,
of them over that.
if they do, it's only because the NFC East will be so horrible.
I don't think
It
they're
will.
going to be that horrible. I think with the Washington football team, you got Fitzpatrick at QB, which is something they've lacked for years, and their defense with Chase Young, and you got other young guys too. I know a few of them. I'm trying to think, but I can't think of it right now. But their defense is top tier. It's going to be good for a couple of years here, at least 3 or 4, because there are a lot of young guys running there. And they've got why do I forget now that I'm trying to explain it? But they've got that. They got one good wide receiver, and I'm trying to think who the running back is. AJ McKinnon, maybe? But Washington's going to be good. That division is always wide open. I wish they would bring somebody else into that division or break it up. But, I mean, there's going to be time. I mean, Washington could run that division for a few years if they figure it out.
Oh, good.
You've also got the Giants. The Giants have a pretty decent defense, but what they lack is Daniel Jones a guy, and also their offensive line is kind of iffy. They've got a couple younger guys on there. They have improved it, but
Not to mention they took Kenny Galladay.
yeah, you're right. They do have decent receivers now with Galladay, and I think they got Kwity Paye. Oh no, Kadarius Toney. They did get Kwity Paye too. That's a D lineman, I think. But they got Kadarius Toney, who they say is a lot like Tyreek Hill coming out of college this year. They've got some decent guys, but I don't know about Daniel Jones at quarterback long term for them. And they're, I mean, that division, anything can happen. They were close to winning last year. But I think Washington's going to be that much better with Fitzpatrick, and I would say this will be Riverboat Ron Rivera's first division win here in the NFC East.
Yeah. If you look at the NFC, so I think it's a complete. I mean, if you look at all the divisions in the NFL, I think that's the dumpster fire division.
It is.
Right. And I think you're right. It's going to be Washington or Dallas. And I think I would, man, there's so many unknowns on both those teams.
Well, I don't have I actually don't have Dallas. I got Washington and New York. If Daniel Jones, I don't see the Cowboys because of their defense being so bad. It hasn't been improved. They got young guys, but not anybody new.
Right. Well, and you're right. Dallas has got 2 unknowns. We don't know who we're going to get at their starting quarterback and running back this year because who knows what Ezekiel's going to look like.
Yeah.
So that's what I mean. If
they
Dallas
did
does
get
win
Micah Pearson in the draft, who's a good middle linebacker, but they need corners bad.
Yes. Yeah, I agree. So.
And the Eagles are no match in that division, so that's not anything. We got to talk about the Eagles. They got a long way ahead of them, and they're hard in the cap too. So.
I think we're gonna. I think there's no chance that we disagree on this. But who do you got winning each conference? Who do you think's gonna win each conference?
Like you talking all the way to the top, like going to the Super Bowl?
Which 2 teams are the 2 Super Bowl teams? Of course, we're barring any injury or some weird trade before week 6. I'll say mine first.
Yeah, I'm still thinking. Go ahead.
I think you'll agree with me, though. I think it's Tampa Bay again. This team didn't change anything.
Yeah.
They didn't change a thing. Everyone that was on that team last year is coming back. And Kansas City, once again. There's nothing to tell me these 2 teams aren't going to go at it. Nothing.
Yeah, the only thing with Kansas City is they got new linemen, but Mahomes can do a lot with a little. So,
Right.
I
think they
I want to
upgraded
say
it.
Chiefs, but I feel like I can't.
Buffalo or Baltimore?
It's hard for no. I was thinking the Titans, honestly,
Oh, really?
because they improved the cornerback position with they got Farley in the draft. They also have Jones now, Julio Jones from Atlanta, to help them on the offensive side. So then you can't stack the box because you need another guy outside to guard A.J. Brown and Julio. I'm trying to think who they got at tight end, but you still can't leave him open either. And then that's going to leave more room for Derrick Henry to run, and that's going to be hard to guard. I don't know if it's enough to put him over the Chiefs, but I think if anybody does it, it's going to be the Titans. But it very well could be the Chiefs again.
Again, the question, Tennessee, yeah. The question is, can Tannenhill just be on fire like he has been? Can he continue that up?
Yeah.
I mean, statistically, he was a top five quarterback,
Yeah.
right?
Well, he only has to
And
throw so many times again because they let Derrick Henry eat for most of the game. He's going to crush the rushing record, but that's because they gave him another game. They need to separate the stats now, but that's a
right,
separate thing.
right. But a good running game can open up many good things. There's many good teams in the past, a la Brad Johnson, a la Trent Dilfer.
Hmm.
There's many mediocre quarterbacks that have gone to Super Bowl because of great running games. But when he does throw, Tannehill's look good.
Yeah, we got to
So,
see him catch Julio deep. I'm questionable on his deep game, which if you get Julio on a one-on-one deep, I'd like to see him throw a few of those dots, but we'll see if he's got it.
oh, by the way, both those quarterbacks had great defenses too. So we'll see how
Well, the
Tennessee.
Titans have struggled on defense a little bit, but Farley looks like a great cornerback coming out of college, so that should help them pretty good. That's going to be Tennessee's going to really help, and I think another one that's going to be big. And I didn't. I was thinking about them, but I can't quite put them at the same level in their division. They actually Vegas has got the Ravens winning, but not by much. I think the Browns are going to be pretty good this year. Baker's getting more used to the offense. They just paid Chubb. Chubb's a great running back. They've got OBJ and they've got Jarvis Landry. Their defense, they got Myles Garrett, who's probably going to push for Defensive Player of the Year this year. And you've got, they've just got a bunch of dogs. They got Njoku, the tight end. They've just got a lot of pieces that are pretty good there. And I think they can at least expect 1 to 2 more playoff wins this year. I mean, they hadn't had one since they expanded into Cleveland.
Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt. I mean,
Oh
that's a
yeah, they
good
got a
squad.
Hunt too.
Yeah, that's a. I mean, geez, that's a squad there. Cleveland. Now,
Yeah,
if Cleveland can do it, Detroit should be able to do it one day, right? Come on.
I like the new management in Detroit. This is definitely not our year. For one thing, Rodgers is still in the division,
Yeah.
and let alone Rodgers. I mean, if Rodgers wasn't there, the Vikings would overtake that. They got Justin Jefferson up there too. I don't know about Kirk Cousins, but he is decent enough to get them in an okay position. Uh, I mean, it's gonna the Bears have got a head start on Detroit here because they do have Justin Fields, who's gonna look pretty good. But the difference between Detroit and Chicago is Detroit's already flipped their management up front and their coach, but Chicago's still got Adam Gase and what else do they got? Maybe it's not even Adam Gase. I hope I'm saying it right. But they've got any Chicago fan will know the coach and the GM there aren't very good. Um,
Yeah.
the team doesn't even like Chicago that much. They're moving to Arlington for a new stadium in a couple of years here. Uh,
Well, again, much like the rest of the teams in Detroit right now, this is really weird. Well, all the Detroit teams went from a matter of a couple of years from really bleak to, with maybe the exception of the Red Wings, which we'll talk about that another day, I guess.
yeah, they're still in the
All the
dog.
Detroit Wings team from a really bleak in a matter of a couple of years to, hey, we have a really bright future. And actually, the Lions are in that discussion. Trading Stafford, as much as I love him, and he might be my favorite, he's in the discussion of my favorite Lions players of all time.
Yeah.
Trading him now was a good move. They had no receiver for him. There's going to be no running game for him. The offensive line is great, but when you got no skill players to go along with it, you're not going to do anything. So getting him now is
Well, they
good.
had Galladay and Martin and Marvin Jr., Marvin Jones this last season, but just wasn't happening. The line
Well,
was still bad. They got Payne
yeah.
Sewell now. He'll be pretty
Well,
good long term.
and as great as Galladay was, the price tag was too high.
Yeah,
And
we have no reason to sign him now. He needs to go off. The Giants will like him. He'll be good in New York. It's good to see him go to a bigger market, just like Stafford's going to go to a big market out there in LA and really shine. And
he's going to have a chance to fight for the NFC
yeah,
Championship
I'm
out there.
glad that they're letting guys go because we don't need another Barry Sanders and we don't need another Calvin Johnson because that makes us look that much worse in Detroit when we hold guys and they just say forget it.
That's happened twice now, and it probably would have happened with Stafford retiring in like in a couple
Argue
years.
those guys. You can argue both of those guys in top all time. I think Calvin's just outside of Moss and what's the Moss and Ray
Jerry
Jerry
Rice.
Rice, yeah, Jerry Rice and Randy Moss, and then you
Well,
got Calvin
the
Johnson,
only reason why Calvin's not in that discussion is because he retired so young.
and no championship.
Same thing with Barry.
Yeah. Well, Barry's
So,
up there though. He had that big season, 1,500 yards, right? I think so.
but
Yeah.
statistically, he would be top 1, 2, 3 all time had he not again retired so young. But for what? Come and play for a losing team?
Yeah, I mean, the way Calvin went out was that where they touched the ball and it went out the back of the end zone, and that was just
Yep.
that sucks.
After he'd been burned by bad calls his entire career, he's like, "That's
Yeah,
it."
yeah, that
Well,
was
and
enough.
that
Um, I wish he had went somewhere else. I really do. He had at least like 3 more years left in him. He says he was really busted up though, so maybe he didn't. Because he talks
well,
about he been sore, but I mean he was getting triple team, quad team sometimes.
he said
I
he
don't.
had.
Why could we? That makes me mad thinking. But why could we not get a secondary receiver to take some of that pressure off them? It's because we're Detroit. Nobody want to come play for the Lions. That's why. But
Golden Tate came just a little too late,
yeah, Golden Tate.
honestly.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
pretty good for a little bit there. Yeah.
Yeah, Tate just came a little too late. Had he been with Calvin Johnson, that would have been, boy, that would have been special.
Yeah.
But
Well, we got to talk about somebody winning the division here, so let's change to a different one.
Green Bay.
AFC. Oh, you want? Yeah, Green Bay. Yeah, the Packers
Yeah.
definitely. Rodgers there.
Mm-hmm.
They also brought in Randall Cobb. I'm trying to think, who are they playing this week?
You talking about Green Bay?
Yeah,
Let's check.
I'm trying to think because I was listening to Pat McAfee's show and he's talking about them being able to throw out a lot of wide receivers because they're playing to get somebody with a weak sec. They're gonna play the Seahawks if I'm not mistaken.
Find out. I'm pulling it up right now. So it's
So,
gonna be Green Bay and the Saints.
oh,
So
the Saints. Oh yeah, and they just lost another cornerback. That's why he was saying that they lack cornerback play. So Green Bay's gonna have a good week. This doesn't really. I mean, it affects the divisionals in the end, but Green Bay's got like 5 decent receivers this year. They got who they got? Oh my gosh. Well, Green Bay's set. I mean, we don't really have to talk that much about Green Bay. I'm tired of sounding stupid, not knowing the players, but
okay. So yeah, I have Green Bay winning NFC North. I think you had Washington winning
the
NFC
NFC
East.
East, yeah.
I'm okay. So I'm gonna say Dallas, but I'm saying they're gonna win it with an 8-8 record or worse.
Well, they can't go 8-8 now. It's gonna be eight and
Sorry,
eight
below
and nine.
500.
Yeah,
That's right. They added a game. I forgot
I
about
think
that.
Washington goes 10-7.
Okay. Okay. So you have Washington winning that division then.
Yeah, and I mean, since they're in that division, they get an easy in. I don't like that per se with the NFL. I guess it gives each region somebody to root for, but I would rather them go by record than what they do. But it works. But it does give that NFC East an easy route in. So I think, yeah, it could go. It's still early on. This is just what Vegas has got. NFC West, who do you got? That's 49ers, Rams, Seahawks, Cards.
Uh,
They got the Cards at the bottom, but I don't know about that one.
I might be going Homer on this one, but I'm taking the Rams.
I'm taking the Rams too. I want Stafford to
I
get in there.
I think with the addition of Matthew Stafford, listen, Jared Goff fell off the map for that team when they needed him. They had to run a bunch of short check downs and stuff like that and rely more on the running game. With Stafford, you could run, play action, deep pass, touchdown.
Well, and Gurley went away for them. He pretty much just died off game-wise. He was just done.
But you can't focus him now. I mean, if with Jared Goff falling off the map, you could focus. You could put more guys in the box and force to be beaten by. If you give Matthew Stafford the opportunity to beat you, we've seen him over 18 times here in Detroit come back in the fourth quarter and beat you. So they won't be able to load up the box like they were against Todd Gurley.
I wonder how Stafford will react to being up in the first half for like the fourth time in his career when he's on the Rams.
Okay, so oh boy, that's funny.
Well, that's how don't the Rams have Darnold on defense?
Yes.
So that's
Hey, they got
that's
Ndamukong Suh now. Oh, sorry, no, the Bucks got Ndamukong Suh. Sorry,
the Bucks.
Apologies.
Yeah, the Bucks have. Yeah, but that'll be the closest thing he's had since Sue, and Darnold doesn't step on people's arms and get bad foul calls either. I like Sue.
Yeah,
But, I mean, I know a
Detroit does
lot
not
of people
remember him
don't like
fondly.
Sue. But
Yeah.
I didn't. I mean, I was on the other side of it, so I didn't pay
He
as
was
much
great where I
attention.
played here, by the way. But okay, NFC South. What do you got? This I think we really agree on
Bucks.
this one too.
I don't. They got the
Yeah.
Saints high, but I don't even know. I guess if Jameis plays well, they could always bring in. What is his name?
Did you say if Jameis plays well?
They have to. That's who they've got.
I know, but there's no way Jameis.
I mean, it depends on if who's the wide receiver there, Michael Thomas. It depends on if Thomas wants to play too. He's been getting kind of testy with him. All he is a
Yeah,
slants guy, though. I mean, he's like
I
an.
agree. But listen, there's no chance Jameis Winston plays well in the NFL again. It's not happening.
He's still. I mean, you might. You got if you can tune down the interceptions, he'll still give you 5,000 yards.
Yeah.
It's not gonna be great, and I mean they're not gonna push up on the Bucks. I'm just lower down on the division. I think the Falcons with
They could,
Matt Ryan and who's the
hey,
new?
I think they could be the second best team in the South,
They
but I
could
don't
be.
think they're even. Yeah, I don't think
I
they're
mean the
even in the
Bucks.
Buccaneers league though.
I don't even know how many of those can be primetime games. They probably got them in primetime Saints Bucks, but I don't think that's gonna be as fun to watch this year.
AFC South. You obviously have the Titans winning that, right?
Yeah. Colts are going
Okay.
to be close behind, though. I do like Carson Wentz there, having an actual quarterback there in Indianapolis. They've got some decent pieces. T.Y. Hilton is aging, but they've got a few guys there that can get it done. They got Jonathan Taylor at running back. Not bad. Not great. Definitely not championship team, but they're decent. They'll come in second. Then you got Trevor Lawrence. We'll see how his season goes. They're in this.
If you can run the ball and if you can play defense, you're gonna win football games, right?
Yeah.
And not only that, they have good quarterback play. So I'll take the Tennessee Titans as well to win the AFC South.
Yeah, I mean,
Run me the
there's
football and
nobody
play defense.
pushing at them hard in that division, really.
Mm-hmm. Hmm.
That's
I would like them in most divisions, though, too, though.
yeah. I mean, it'll be curious to see who wins more games in the regular season. It's Titans or Chiefs, really. That's my two in the AFC, really for me. We'll see who wins more.
Yeah.
Uh,
Who you got in the AFC East, my friend?
AFC East. I have the Bills. It's got to be the Bills. People are high on the Dolphins, but I don't know how well the Dolphins are really going to do this year. But
I mean,
the Bills got Josh Allen. I mean, he's going to be a great quarterback for the next 5 years here, so at least.
yeah. I don't
He's
think there's even any question. Give me the Bills.
yeah. You got Stephon Diggs, who I think he'll be on a really hard season. He'll be really pushing this season because he got to watch the Chiefs celebrate winning the trophy in Buffalo last year. Or no, it wasn't. I don't know where it was, but he was sitting out there watching the trophy ceremony, so he's gonna have some extra push. They're
Yeah,
not
and they
good
got
there.
they got pass rushers too, like Espinoza
Yeah,
or
they got
Espinosa.
Tre'Davious White
Epinesa, excuse me.
corner. Yeah,
That's a good team. Listen, to me, in my humble opinion, the Bills are the best team that won't be in the Super Bowl.
yeah. They're gonna have trouble because they've lined up their team. It's gonna be like the Rockets were in the NBA. That's what
Mm,
it's gonna be. They're gonna have really good players, but they're gonna get stopped by the Warriors, the Chiefs,
yep,
and they're
yep.
never gonna make it out. They're gonna be right there, but they won't be able to do it, unfortunately. And it's too bad because they're Bills City. I mean, as dumb as they are to jump through tables, the fans are always at the games. I think you're going to have one more team come out of there and make the playoffs, and it's not going to be the Dolphins. I think the Patriots and Mac Jones are going to at least make the playoffs at like 10
Really?
or 10-7 because they went 7-9 with Cam Newton last year, and half of their guys didn't even play. So, as much
I
money as
still
they
think.
spent in free agency, and with Mac Jones already outdoing a veteran quarterback, I think they're going to be decent.
What, you're not going to give the Jets any love?
A couple years here. I think they could be
I'm
good.
joking. I'm
Couple
totally
years.
joking. That's a
Well,
garbage
I do.
team.
Zach Wilson, I've heard could swing the rock. Not as good as Mahomes, but like a Josh Allen Mahomes level. So in a few years here, this could be an interesting division. And if Tua gets good, all four of these teams should be just chewing at each other for years.
Uh,
I,
AFC North.
AFC North.
Ooh, I think we might disagree on this one.
The odds have the Ravens, but I have the Browns.
You got the Browns? Okay. I thought you were gonna go Browns, and that's actually I like it, dude. That Browns team, just look at that roster. That's
They're,
fun.
they're
That's
built.
fun football. Yeah. That's fun
The
football.
Ravens are
Just
good, but they just lost their starting running back in J.K. Dobbins. So it's going to be less of a question mark for defenses. They're not going to run too much play. I mean, they did just sign Le'Veon Bell, but this isn't Steelers Le'Veon Bell anymore, so that's not as big of a deal. We're going to see what Lamar can do. They got him more options. They got him a couple receivers. I can't name them right now. They re-signed Mark Andrews, a tight end. He's got some weapons. He's got to start being able to throw the ball because that's been his biggest issue. We know he can run. We know he can give you on the ground yards, but we haven't really seen an exceptional performance in the air, except for that one game last season where he went to the locker room and then came back and won an overtime against the Browns. Hasn't really had any big performances since the MVP season. Because I forgot he was technically the MVP last year, but he did not play like it.
well,
Uh,
I'm gonna agree with you on the Browns.
you
And I
probably had
think
Ravens before I said that, right?
well, no, that's exactly what I was thinking, right? Uh, with the exception of Mahomes, athletic style quarterbacks do not last long in the NFL.
He's
Let
not
me
Michael
remind you.
Vick. He's not Michael Vick. I'm gonna say it.
I actually think he's. No, I'm not going to say that because I don't I'm not sure about that. But I mean, let me remind you how many great athletic quarterbacks looked like they were going to be world beaters, and then after a few seasons fell off the map. At one time, Colin Kaepernick looked like one of the best QBs in the league,
But he couldn't
along with
throw. He couldn't throw
al-
that well. That was his biggest.
along with Vince Young. Right, he couldn't just hang around, but he could buy some time with their legs, and then defenses figured it out. And that's the problem with these athletic, but barring Patrick Mahomes because he's a whole nother animal.
Yeah, he's.
Uh,
Jeez.
that's the problem with these athletic QBs is once they start spying you and once they start specifically defending the run against you, you lose half your game, right? And then you're only half the quarterback. So Lamar Jackson, you're right. I haven't seen much precision from him, but up to this point, he has taken over games
Yeah.
completely.
I
And so if that continues, the Ravens will be better than the Browns. I'm not sure if he can keep that up, so
yeah.
I might give the nod to the Browns.
Yeah, I will die. I will go to my deathbed saying that the greatest Russian quarterback never played the game, and it was Allen Iverson. I think Iverson outdid Michael Vick in his own town. They played in the same town
Yeah,
at different high schools, and Iverson was better than him. Allen
that's what they
Iverson.
say.
I really would have liked to have seen what Allen Iverson could have done on the football field because as good as he was in on the NBA on the basketball court. He was never able to win a championship, and I think if he played NFL football, we don't know what would have happened.
Well, his arm strength was really bad, though. That's the problem.
Okay, well,
Yeah, but yes, you're right. He have you ever seen his highlight reel?
oh yeah,
It was amazing. So
it's
yeah,
just
I
that
think
question mark of what it could have been.
yeah, it would have been fun. It would have been
LeBron
great.
could have been a great wide receiver, but I mean, I think he made the right choice. But
He certainly did.
he
So
made enough. He made enough money to outdo that choice with the Nike deal that he signed for $1 billion.
so I'll agree with you. I'll go Browns, but I'm gonna go with a caveat. If Lamar Jackson goes off, it's going to be Baltimore. But I think it's more likely. I mean, I think that the Browns are the more complete team.
Well, yeah.
But the Ravens have that extreme superstar possibility in Jackson once again.
Well, Vegas odds has got the Ravens at 115, the Browns at 155, so they're not that far off. Plus 115, plus 155, so it's really close.
Yeah, they're close. They're close.
Yeah.
That was a good. I like. Man, we've been pretty close in everything. AFC
Um,
West. Is there
I
any
mean, it's
question?
unless something out of the normal happens, this is pretty well set. I mean, AFC Northwise, some people probably thinking the Steelers they got Najee Harris, but they're not gonna make any noise. Big Ben's way over the hill, and they might not even have T.J. Watt if they don't get this contract dispute done.
By the way, I'm gonna say the AFC North, in my humble opinion, is this is weird because this is the division of the Browns and the
I
Bengals.
feel
But I
bad
think,
for Joe Burrow, but
yeah, I agree with you. But I think the AFC North is. I th- should I say this? Yeah, I'm gonna say it. I think the AFC North is probably the best division of football right now. Yeah, I'm gonna say that. I
yeah,
think the AFC North is the best division of
in
football.
football,
Yep, I'm
yeah,
comfortable. I'm comfortable saying that.
yeah, because the rest, I mean, some of these divisions, like I think the AFC East, once they develop, right now they have one dominant team, but I think they got at least they got at least two others coming up at the moment. I think that could be big in the future, but at the moment, yeah. Yeah.
Because I actually think Pittsburgh has a possibility of ripping off 10 wins. Maybe,
Well, if Juju could
maybe.
lay off the TikTok a little bit, they'd probably do better. I mean,
All
he
right.
acts like he's such a great wide receiver, but he's really like above average. He's pretty good, but he's not the best in the league, and he's out here acting like he's the
He was the one
best.
that got smoked in Cincinnati, right, for doing all the stuff on their logo.
I'm trying to. Is that the one where he got absolutely laid out mid game?
Yeah, because
Yeah,
and they were gunning for him because he was TikToking on their logo.
yeah. He's
Yeah,
not good enough to make himself a target. He was really good when Antonio Brown was there to be the secondary guy, but as the first guy, he's not it. They need
not to
another
get you off
receiver there.
subject, but there was only one wide receiver that did that and succeeded, and that was a wide receiver by the name of Terrell Owens, who
Yo,
intentionally would antagonize teams like that, but he could get away with it.
well,
He
you
would win
back it up.
anyways. Yeah. Okay. AFC West. Is there any doubt?
Oh my, no, because the only one that could push up is Justin Herbert, and I think they're about 1 year out of it.
Yeah, I don't even think there's anyone that's even close.
Broncos, Teddy Bridgewater could be okay for them. They got Jerry Judy there. Defense is still pretty decent. I mean, it's aging. It's pretty well. They were pretty young when Peyton was there, and it's pretty well the same guys with a few additions. They got
Yeah.
Chubb. They got Von Miller. And did Von retire?
No, he's still going.
So they got some other guys too. I don't know the rosters enough to name every guy, but they're pretty decent. They're not gonna push up for that though. Teddy Bridgewater's like
Again, this is
I
an
could see them
athletic
going
quarterback.
8-7 or something.
No, I don't even put him that high.
Well, they got to
they're
play the
hope.
Chiefs twice, so yeah, probably not.
So they bring in Teddy Bridgewater. By the way, when Teddy Bridgewater, I loved him. He sustained that injury, and here you go. I mean, if you're an athletic quarterback, your career expectancy seems like it's that of a running back. He got that big injury, and he's never looked the same since.
I hope Burrow
Denver's
doesn't
putting their
lose.
hopes in him, and I don't see it.
Where
It's
did
not
he
going to work out.
start? Where did Bridgewater start?
Minnesota,
Oh yeah, that's right.
and he looked great. By the way, he looked spectacular in Minnesota, and then he got injured, and he was never the same.
Oh, was that the?
And
Yeah, that was the season Kirk Cousins was injured, right? They brought him in.
yep, they brought him in from Washington. By the way, Kirk Cousins is a Michigan State guy. But
Yeah.
yeah, so this isn't a very good division, and I think Denver is going to be at the bottom of it.
No, the Raiders
know,
will be probably because it depends on how Carr plays. But if Carr doesn't play that well, they're not going to be much. At least with the Broncos, you can get Teddy and Jerry
I
Judy
mean,
going.
who you like better though? I mean, and I know we put so much weight on the quarterback, but it's true. A quarterback can carry a team. Who you put more weight on, Bridgewater or Carr?
There's been a lot of weight on Carr, and he's not played to that level. The only team he plays well against for some reason is the Chiefs, and other teams he just absolutely does not show up
Yep.
for.
Yeah, he got that massive contract and he disappeared.
Yeah, I think Herbert's going to be good in a few years, but he's in a bad division to be good in the next
Yeah,
few
he's
years. He very well may leave that division.
well, there we go. We got our picks. We agreed on most of them. I think we
Yeah.
disagreed in the NFC East, and we disagreed.
AFC North a little bit. You kind of flipped to where I was at, but I kind of you.
Yeah.
It's up in the air there. That one's close. We didn't agree on. I think the Titans could go to the Super Bowl, and the Chiefs. I mean, that could definitely go Chiefs for sure.
Yeah.
And then Bucks
Oh,
is a no-brainer out of the other
oh,
side.
you had Tennessee, right, for Super Bowl?
Yeah, I had Tennessee for Super Bowl, but that's like that's gonna be. I want to watch that game if it does come down to that for the
Boy, oh
for the
boy.
AFC Championship. That's gonna be a fun one.
It's just so hard to get bet against Patrick Mahomes right now. Like, he's
Well, it's
insane.
hard to play against 43-year-old Tom Brady too. So
By the way, he said he wants to play for a few more years in Tampa Bay.
I could see him playing until he's 50. It's crazy to say that,
This
but
is insane.
I think he's got at least another. I don't. No, I don't know yet. He'll be done when he says he's done.
He's got to fall off sometime, right?
It's that avocado ice cream, man. He keeps
Is that
eating.
what he's eating?
That's
I
he
need me
eats
some
that.
of that.
He does other stuff. Yeah, I don't. Brady is. Brady's Brady.
Well,
Yeah.
it should be a fun season. I'll probably only be able to watch 1 or 2 games a week, and they'll probably be suffering with Detroit losing. Because honestly, I just Jared. I mean, if we hit with Jared Goff, that's great, but he's not going to play well. So
Yeah. I have faith. I'd like to. I think Dan Campbell can be a good coach going forward, but he just. I mean, I do like. I think it's like
I like his
Amana
attitude.
Saint. What? So that wide receiver looks that I've heard about in training camp. That Armana guy. I don't know.
No, we have no receiving core.
Yeah.
We
We
have
actually got
no.
rid of the decent. I think it's like Brendan Perryman. We got rid of
Yeah,
him. Uh, I've
yeah.
seen some of the younger guys he's liking, so who knows?
The good news is about Detroit is they have that great. I mean great offensive line. Well, I mean Frank Radnow is one of the best linemen in the league.
Yeah. By the
T.J.
time
Lang they
we're gonna have to
re-signed.
draft a center though before we get good, because he's gonna have about 3 years here, and then he'll be regressing. Unfortunately, he's gonna finish. He'll make his
How dare
money,
you?
but I don't see us
How
getting better for at least 3 to 4 years.
listen,
Took the Browns that long. They had to draft Baker, and then they found the other pieces.
listen. If they get one good offseason, right? We lose Jared Goff this year. Maybe they. Well, that's another discussion for another day.
Who's the top quarterback in college this year? Who's the guy? Because this could be Detroit's #1 pick year.
Oh, don't say that to me.
Three
Well, let me check.
wins. I've looked at their record, that their schedule. They're gonna get either 3 or 4 wins this year.
Well, let's find out. Uh
I know it's definitely not the guy at
oh,
Clemson,
Spencer Rattler from Oklahoma.
Oklahoma quarterback. Hey, I talked about
Yep.
Baker Mayfield with Cleveland. That was an
It's a
Oklahoma
good
kid.
year. It's a good quarterback year.
Hey,
There's like 5 good quarterback. Yeah. So you got.
the Pistons did that this year with tanking. It was a good year to tank.
And honestly, I think Rattler is the Cade Cunningham of this draft. Actually, it's funny. This is very comparable to the NBA draft, where you have, 3 or 4 great quarterbacks and one that stands head and shoulders above the rest.
If Detroit gets 2 #1 picks, there's gonna be people saying it's rigged. Well, with the NFL though, does it go by record?
Yes, there's no
Okay,
draft.
so it's not
There's
like
no draft.
okay, there's no
Yeah,
bought
there's
and
no draft.
sold draft lottery.
But yeah, so in the NFL, you don't want to tank though, because if you don't sell out your games, then you don't get your TV sponsorships, because they black out the games if you don't sell out your. So the NFL has done a good job of fighting against tanking by filling out the stands. If you don't fill out the stands, then you don't get your TV games, then you don't get your sponsorship money.
Well, yeah,
So
but
they're really nobody wants to tank in the NFL.
well, Detroit fans are dumb enough to fill up the stands even when it sucks. So I mean, I don't think they got an issue with that.
Bro, you say that, and I've been to almost, besides like since I moved to Colorado, I've been to a Detroit game like I'm that sucker fan.
Well, you're not a season ticket holder though. I'm talking about those guys who are like, I gotta get my season tickets, and I bet it's just as expensive as everywhere else, but I gotta have them.
Yeah, Detroit's just a good sports town.
Yeah.
So, yep.
All right.
So, yep.
So yeah, that's your NFL. I'm gonna try to get more NFL in here. I'm watching more. I've been watching Pat McAfee show, just different. I'm listening to NFL radio now in the car on Sirius. So I'm trying to get a better feel for it, so I don't sound like a idiot when I talk about it, not knowing players. But yeah, well, we'll get more NFL. I'm definitely not ditching NBA because that's my strong suit. But definitely talk about more NFL. Yeah, but thank you guys for watching. This has been the Big 30. Another 20 to go to 50. We'll see if we get there. Thank you for watching.